Thank you. Oh, there we go. Hi, Jack. We're live right now, just so you know.
Evening, okay, Jack. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello, Jack.
Hello, Bill.
I don't have more. Oh, God. Just if everyone could let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good. All right. I think we're okay to start. Everyone's here. I don't see your faces now. I just see my screen. So everyone's in attendance, correct?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. And Bobby, you're good to go?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, let's get started. So welcome everyone to our regular Police Services Board meeting. We will get started. So roll call. Everyone is in attendance. Any disclosure of interest this evening? So you're going to have to actually speak instead of raising hands. So
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay. A confirmation of agenda. So I have the agenda in front of me. I'm assuming that you've all had a chance to review. Everything okay? Any additions? Any concerns?
Madam Chair, do you want to move her in a seconder on that?
Yes, I will, please.
I'll move that. That's Pete.
Okay.
And I will second that, Bill.
Okay. Bobby, do you have a resolution for that?
Certainly, that the Aylmer Police Services Board approves the January 11th, 2021 agenda as presented.
Okay, so, and I will say all in favor. I will also say those not in favor. Anyone not in favor, speak up. Otherwise, I will have to assume that we are all in favor. So all in favor?
Yes.
And
Aye.
those opposed? Any opposed? All right, so that is carried. Thank you. So moving on, adoption of the minutes from November 30th and December 8th. Bobby, do you has everyone had a chance to review any concerns, any omissions or errors that we need to address? I looked through, I didn't see anything of concern. So Bobby, do you have a resolution for that?
Certainly, that the Aylmer Police Services Board approves the November 30th and December 8th, 2020 minutes as written.
Okay, can I get someone to move
By
that?
Bill.
Okay.
Moved by Bill.
Second by Jack.
All right. And all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Seeing none. So that is carried. Thank you. All right, so delegations, there are none this evening. So we'll move on to unfinished business. So Malahide Police costing. Bobby, did you have something that we were gonna
Through you, Madam Chair, we just basically it's just a consensus to remove this item from unfinished business as that has now been dealt with.
okay, and is everyone on the board good with that, removing Malahide Police costing?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right, so we can remove that from unfinished. Do you need anything else for that, Bobby?
No, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, all right. And then the police services board policies. Where are we with that? Oh shoot, my computer just went out. Do you have something for that, Bobby?
No, that's just still basically on hold.
Okay. All right. So you'll keep us posted as that comes to light.
Yeah.
And then the BAM request for police costing. We do have something for that this evening.
Through you, Madam Chair, it's just basically a housekeeping issue to pass a resolution to forward it back to Town Council so that they may respond to BAM. And the resolution reads that the Aylmer Police Services Board forward a letter to Town Council in response to the request from the municipality of BAM for the police costing.
All right. Any questions, concerns around that?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
do we put a rationale in that, or is it to give council direction other than to respond?
I guess, I mean, that would be up to the board to decide if we wanted to add in any further verbiage to that reply.
Through
What-
you, Madam Chair, if
Yes.
I may, we just do have a letter drafted up that just states that basically what the chief had mentioned at the last meeting, that because Malahide had declined the police costing, that kind of leaves, doesn't provide the continuous boundaries to offer services to BAM Township. And there would just be too many legal challenges to try to go that route.
And you said we have a letter drafted?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Did
Sorry.
you want me to read the whole letter, or?
Yes, please.
Direction from the board.
Yes, please.
Okay.
The municipality of BAM on April 21st, 2016 passed a resolution requesting a costing from the policing services from the town of Aylmer. This request had been placed on hold pending the outcome of the policing proposal being submitted to the township of Malahide. If the township of Malahide accepted the proposal, it would have geographically adjoined the three communities. In November 2020, the township of Malahide opted not to accept the Aylmer Police Services proposal. Since Aylmer and Malahide are not continuous, the delivery of the police service to BAM is cost prohibitive and has some legal challenges. For these reasons, the Aylmer Police Services cannot pursue the costing proposal to the municipality of BAM. On behalf of the Aylmer Police Services Board, we'd like to thank the municipality of BAM for their interest in policing partnership with Aylmer.
Okay. Sounds good. Is everyone satisfied with that, with the letter?
Madam Chair, the second last line with BAM at this time, pursue it at this time, or something to that effect. When and if the conditions ever change, we would leave that path open.
Sure.
If
Did you
that's
get that,
agreeable to the
Bobby?
board.
Through you, Madam Chair, I guess that would be though for town council, or did you want that in the letter to town council? The request, again, if it should come down the future, would again go to
Would
the
go through
municipal
council.
council. Yeah.
So this letter is actually going to council. It's not going to
That's
BAM.
correct. That's correct.
We, our council, will provide the documentation to BAM, our letter.
Yes.
So did you still want to change that, Pete?
If it's agreeable to the board to at least keep that option open.
Sure. I don't see any harm in it. Anyone else?
Sure, I think that's fine.
Okay. All right. So did you want to hear that again, Bobby?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Just for clarification, we are sending a letter to the town of Aylmer so that they can send a letter to BAM. Is that the understanding of what's happening?
So the request, yeah, someone who just spoke there.
Bill,
Oh,
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
my question would be, why would the town of Aylmer be the one that actually addresses this issue with the municipality of BAM, since the Police Services Board is separate from the issue, in my understanding, but it just seems kind of a strange way to go about communicating with BAM, since they asked it of us in the past.
It was not asked of us, Jack. Through you, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yep.
A letter was sent from Bayham Township to the town of Aylmer.
Thank you.
Requesting that the Aylmer Police Services Board provide a costing. So the letter would have to come back then from the town of Aylmer itself, not from the Police Services Board.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The initial request seems strange then at that point, but nevertheless, it's done. So thank you very much for the clarification.
Yep. Okay. So we're okay with that.
Yes.
Okay. And the resolution is open. We had a first, and we had a mover and a seconder. Bobby?
I'm sorry. Did you want me to reread the resolution or?
Yes, please.
Okay, sorry. That
That's
the Aylmer
okay.
Police Services Board forward a letter to Town Council in respect to the request from the municipality of BAM for the police costing.
Okay. All right. So if there are no further questions, I'll just need a mover and a seconder.
Moved by Bill.
Seconded by Pete.
All right. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And opposed? Seeing none. Great. Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Did somebody say something? I'm just really sensitive when I hear somebody talk that I just don't want to miss if someone has anything to say. No? Okay. All right then. So do we need a resolution for unfinished business?
No, that's fine.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
So moving on to new business. The first item is the election of the board chair. So I will let Bobby speak to this.
So for the election of the board chair, the floor will now be open for nominations for board chair. Are there any nominations?
It's Pete. I'll nominate Sherry.
Do we have a seconder for that?
I would second
Bill.
that.
I'm sorry, that was by
Jack.
Bill. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Go ahead, Jack.
Oh, well, I did second it, Bill, but I think we did it together. So Bobby can just flip a coin.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we do have a mover and a seconder for to nominate Sherry as board chair. Are there any further nominations for board chair? Calling a third and final time for nominations for board chair. Seeing none. Sherry, will you let your name stand and accept the position of board chair?
I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if we could just, and if we could just have a resolution now, it would read that the Aylmer Police Services Board appoints Sherry Andrews as Chair of the Aylmer Police Services Board for 2021.
Okay.
Moved by Bill.
Second by Toby.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, I will continue on with the nominations for Vice Chair.
Okay, thank you.
The Aylmer Police Services Board now opens the floor for nominations for Vice Chair. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Toby.
Do we have a seconder for that?
It's Pete. I'll second the motion.
Thank you. And Toby, you'll allow your name to stand.
I will.
Are there any other further nominations for Vice Chair? Calling a third and final time for the Chair.
Posted that in the site, correct, Bobby? Is it in here? Bobby?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, it is there. I'm sorry, I was muted. It should be in the package as well.
So there's the draft and then there's the procedural, right? Is it the second one?
Sorry, yep. The first one is, it will just show you what the changes were that were made to it. Basically, what we did was just clean up the portion for part 2 and 3. If you will recall, the board at its last meeting passed to adopt the policies and procedures for that the town of Aylmer used for the purchasing and procurement. So we did remove that portion from the procedure bylaw of the board just to make sure there was no conflicting information.
Okay, so I will open up the part that was changed, and so it was yellow. Or no, I guess maybe we want to see the first one, the proposed changes. What does everybody want to see? Unless you are happy with what was want me to present.
I do have Madam Chair, I do have a question dealing with part of the segments that were put in red, which were the segments that were omitted, correct, Bobby? The ones that were in red in this one, I think it goes down to page 8 or something.
Yeah, I'm almost there.
No.
Oh.
There's the one
not.
that.
There.
Right, yeah, right there.
There.
If we go down on the next page, because that page deals with his reserve fund. There was
Is it down further?
Yeah, this one right here on part 3.
Okay.
Now, part 3 really doesn't deal with the town's expenditure policy. It actually deals with the annual operating budget. And on A, B, C, and D, is it the board's wish that we would remove that part? Because what you're doing is removing the requirement that the board reviews or modifies where necessary the estimates of the annual operating budget, et cetera. So I guess my question is to every part.
Right. Yeah, I see what you mean, Jack. Is that the direction, Bobby, or is that someplace else?
I'm sorry, yes, it was just reworded a little bit in the final clean copy.
Okay.
I didn't see the clean copy, I guess. So that part is not, is still active somewhere else, I take it.
Yes, that's correct.
Do you want me
Okay.
to go there now? I can go there and we
No,
can have a
that's
look
fine.
at it.
That's
Okay.
fine. That's fine.
Okay.
It just kind of got in there. It snuck in there by mistake.
Okay. So Bobby, it was taken out, but it was put back in, but just reworded.
Just reworded, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll have a look at that though.
Okay.
When we go into the to the final copy. I just want to see where it was. Okay. Was there anything else in this portion that anyone wanted to see in the red that was changed? Knowing that it may have just been changed and then, or taken out and changed, added into the new.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, I do want to have some discussions on reserve funds for the cruiser purchases.
Okay. Where was that in here? Oh,
It's right at the beginning.
At the beginning of the red, marked yellow.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, right there.
So obviously, I wasn't privy to how the decision was made to allocate $10,000 or basically $10,000 each year for the purchase of a cruiser. I mean, we purchase cruiser every 2 years. We have that cycle of replacement of cruisers every 4 to 5 years for the turnover. I mean, if we allocate $15,000 every 2 years, that only gives us $30,000 to purchase a cruiser, which is unrealistic because generally for the last 2 years we're right around the $50,000 mark for the two cruiser for the purchase of one cruiser. So for this year, for 2021 budget, I asked for a reserve fund of $25,000 for the purchase of a cruiser, which will carry us into next year when we have another $25,000 added, at which point in 2022 we'll be required to purchase a cruiser. So if somebody was on the board or privy to that decision where 10,000 came in, I'd like to know how they were budgeting 10,000 a year to purchase a cruiser every 2 years, which would only give you 20,000 every 2 years to purchase a cruiser. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, if I may, Chief Horvat, I was on the board at the time that decision was made, and I believe that was 2009. At that time, there were no provisions whatsoever in the budget for purchasing cruisers, so $10,000 was kind of a bonus to stick in there. Was better than pulling that money out of the regular budget every year. So you know, without having any kind of reserve at all, it would just all of a sudden on 1 year you'd be pulling at that time about $35,000 out. So we thought $10,000 was a pretty good sum back in 2009, which it was. But as you're saying, that doesn't cut it very much right now.
Yeah, well, my experience with purchasing of equipment or any other items for the operational requirements of the service that are significant in cost should be budgeted as a separate item away from the operational budget.
Understood.
Because if you have your operational budget and you don't happen to have any savings that particular year, you're going to be running into a deficit if you have to pull out an additional $30,000 because you don't have enough in the reserves to purchase that vehicle. So my recommendation would be that, and again, in consultation with town staff about budgeting, that it should be included in the reserve fund for the specific purchase of the cruiser, and it should be $25,000 each year. And when I did the presentation to Formaldehyde, that's exactly because they were going to be responsible for a purchase of one cruiser every 2 years, and in the budget, I budgeted for $25,000 per year as an expense item to replace the cruiser. So I would recommend that we do the same thing here, to make sure that we don't run short.
Any other comments on that?
I have two questions, if I may.
Mhm.
If the correct amount is 25,000 instead of 15, I think we should run with the appropriate number, and then you would therefore take out the no less than 10,000 for the same reason that the chief just said. And the second part of my question is, because it's a shall or a must, it doesn't give the board any flexibility when and if there was ever a year where you might choose not to do that. And that brings up my question. Is there a feasibility of being in a situation where you would not recommend the contribution to the reserve fund, other than smart budgeting?
I guess my point of view on that would be that yes, that's a possibility if you have a surplus in that reserve fund for the purchase of that cruiser for the following year. So, for whatever reason, let's say if we don't, because the fleet that we have does not require replacement, and we don't purchase the cruiser for that particular year when it's due, and wait until the following year, technically you would have $50,000 extra in the budget, and at that point you could say, okay, well, we'll forego the contribution to the reserve fund for that particular year. So it is a possibility, but on the flip side, if we don't have enough in there, then we always have to go on the operational side or run a deficit, which is not ideal.
Yeah, Madam Chair,
Mhm.
I kind of second what Peter's saying. I'd like to see some flexibility here for the board. So I would like to recommend that the wording be that the board recommends the allocation of $25,000 each year in the reserve account, et cetera, which indicates that the board is in favor of this amount, but doesn't tie our hands totally to that amount in case of some kinds of emergencies or other kinds of things that happen. Because once you put shall in there, it indicates that this is a budget item, period. Recommendation may be better.
I agree with you on that.
Madam Chair, as well, I will wholeheartedly support Jack's comments and Pete's comments as well, that we should have that flexibility, and yes, to increase it to 25,000.
Okay, Toby, thoughts on that?
I agree with what the others have said as well. That
Okay.
makes sense to me. Thanks.
Yep, perfect. All right, so we will need that reworded. Bobby, did you get that information that we can change that?
Through you, Madam Chair, just to clarify that you want to remove the wording shall and just put in that it's recommended for the 25,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, the board recommends the allocation of 25,000.
Okay, yep, that's fine. We can change that.
Yeah.
And the $10,000 number comes out.
Yeah, it is already in red, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But then should we change the wording then, and I'll have to go into the other, to the final copy to make sure that it's further understood that one such vehicle will be replaced every 4 or 5 years, because that's not the direction that we're taking. So I can.
Madam Chair, it is, because every other year you're replacing a cruiser, and by the time you get to that fourth cruiser, that one that we originally purchased is already a 4-year cycle, 4 to 5 year cycle.
So the wording is fine?
Yeah, that portion of the wording is fine, because you're not changing the same cruiser every 2 years. You're changing a cruiser that's in the fleet of 4, so that would be every 4, 5, 6 years you would be changing that cruiser that you originally purchased.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I found that that clause a little confusing.
Yeah, I think we should clean that up, actually.
Yeah, understanding that that a cruiser is intended to last 4 years, we're buying a cruiser every 2 years. And if it can just clean that language up a little bit, it would be easier to understand.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Does that make sense to everyone else? Do you not read it that way?
Okay, I'm not looking, sorry, Madam Chair, I'm not looking at 4 or 5 years in this at all. It's in the red where it mentions the number of years, so maybe it's below where it mentions years. I don't know. We don't need to mention years.
Yeah, so
It's been taken out already.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it isn't in the final copy?
All right.
It isn't in that draft?
It shouldn't be. If it's in red, it should have been removed, right?
So it was initially removed from here, but put back in, just changed. So we'll have to look at the final draft just to make sure that, to see what the wording is. Was there anything else in this part that we needed to look at? In the that was in red?
No.
No? Okay. So I can move to the finished copy, and we can have a look at that. So where was that? Page 7?
All right.
Oh. Did I click on the wrong one? Sorry, I may have clicked on the wrong one. Unless I'm clicking on the same one, or else there's the same one uploaded. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I didn't see a finished copy in my copy of the agenda.
Okay. All right. So they were both in red then, Bobby? The second copy. Sorry?
Yes, well, my apologies if it's the, is it the same document that you have on there, Sherry?
It is, yeah. So we should review that before we do the final sign off. So we'll do the, we'll note the changes, and we can bring that back. Oh, there it is. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's the part there, yeah.
So this was in the draft. So I think they're just reversed actually then. Yeah. So this is the final copy. So that's what will be listed. So we'll just change that. Take out the shall 25,000 each year. And then it does not have anything about the years. You're right, Jack. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I think it's up to the chief to decide when he's going to buy one.
For sure.
You know.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. Was there anything else with the procedural bylaw? Did you want me to go back to the red, yellow sections and review, or was everyone okay with that? Was there something else? Whoa. I'm crazy here. Sorry. Yeah, so these were the changes.
Yep.
Okay. Everything else was all right?
Yes.
Yeah, everyone in agreement with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we will make the changes on the part about the 25,000. Do you want to read that back, Bobby, just so that we're clear on what those changes are?
For part 2, 1A, it will reflect that the board recommends the allocation of 25,000 for each year to the reserve account for the purpose of purchasing a vehicle when required. These funds must be used to purchase a vehicle and costs associated with any retrofitting that may be required, such as additional costs to include, but not limited to, rear cage electronics, emergency equipment such as lights and sirens.
Okay.
And I believe that was the only.
Sorry. Okay. And so the only thing that was changed was taking out the shall and 25,000 each year. Correct?
Okay.
Through Madam Chair,
Yep.
would you like to do a first and second reading of this bylaw with those changes, or would you like me just to make those changes and send it back for the next meeting without the readings on it?
Sorry, you cut out on the last part.
Sorry, I just wondered if the board wishes to do first and second reading to the bylaw this evening with those changes.
And what the board's decision on that?
Is this a document that requires 3 readings?
Yes,
I don't recall us ever reading any motions 3 times. I know council.
If I may, Madam Chair?
Yeah. You may.
Yeah, because it's our procedural bylaw. For the 6 or 7 years I've been on the board, we've always had the first and second, like the 3 readings.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected, Bill.
It's a very significant document, Pete. That's my opinion. So I may stand corrected if other people disagree.
So let's
Okay.
do first and second and then final next meeting. Is that what you're suggesting, Bobby? Just so that we can see those changes?
yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And board's opinion on that, I think that's probably the way to go.
Okay, I do have a resolution if you'd like me to read that.
Sure.
That the Aylmer Police Services Board gives first and second reading to bylaw 1-2021 being the procedural board's bylaw with the recommended changes as noted.
Okay.
So moved.
Mover. I heard Bill. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second you.
Toby. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay. And any opposed? Okay. Thank you. That is carried. So we will review those changes and save the third reading for next meeting. Okay. We're good?
Can everybody still hear me? Because my picture just dumped.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, that's all you need,
Yeah. Okay.
I hope.
I'll let you know otherwise.
I can take off my hat.
Okay, so moving on, the next item is the Police Services Board meeting dates for 2021. Any concerns on those? Any that jump out that need to be changed? I mean, we can leave it, of course, and do ad hoc, so it's completely open. Any concerns? All right, can I get a mover for this, please? Oh, yeah, please.
Through you, Madam Chair, if we
Yes.
can just have a consensus that these dates are suitable for the board. We do send them to town council as well in respect to our sharing of information bylaw.
Okay.
Basically, FYI.
Yes, we're good with these. Any concerns?
No.
Okay. No? All
Nope.
right. Do you have a resolution, Bobby?
Sorry, Madam Chair, we usually just do this by consensus that
Okay.
because it is part of our bylaw already.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
That's good. Thanks. So moving on, confirmation of employment. Oh, do you have the resolution for this, Bobby?
Yes, sorry, this is basically just a housekeeping item.
Yes.
The resolution reads that the Aylmer Police Services Board acknowledge the hiring of the following constables Jordan Babb on March 26, 2020, Kyle Dry on December 14th, 2020, and part-time Dan Answorth as the June 25th, 2020.
Okay. Can I get any discussion on these? Any questions, concerns? Seeing none, can I get someone to move this?
I would move that as Jack.
All right,
I'll
seconder,
second it. Pete?
Pete, and all those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? All right, good, thank you, and that's carried. Okay, so we can move along into reports. We'll start out with the trial balance. Let me just pull that up first, Chief. All right, there we go. So I will try to make this a little bigger. Unfortunately, my screen is not great. Okay. All right. It's all yours.
So here, Madam Chair, with respect to the budget and the trial balance, there's nothing really significant that jumps out at me other than the fact that we came in at 11% under budget for this year. There are going to be some adjustments still for 2020 year. Of significance is the bill that I just approved for the dispatching services, and that'll bring us actually under the, it shows, if you look at item 64210, dispatch services, it shows that 56,147 spent at 69%. That's actually going to go up because I just approved the payment for the fourth quarter of 2020. In addition to that, we're also going to be receiving some funds from Ontario Police College for the duration that Acting Sergeant Fisher has been there. That's not reflected in this particular budget. So at the end of the day, we are going to be at approximately 11% under budget for 2020, which is a good news story for the Police Services Board and the local taxpayers. And again, there's nothing significant here that I need to report unless anybody has questions with respect to the trial balance.
Yeah.
Any questions for the chief?
Looks good,
No,
Chief.
Looks good, yes.
Yep, no
Does,
questions at all. Great job, Chief.
yeah. Great budget or great story for sure.
Same thing for the budget with respect to the police under 221 and also the Police Services Board under 222. Nothing of significance, as I indicated before, with respect to the Police Service Board budget. We have some significant legal fees incurred for this year, and that's reflected in there, and that's also obviously put us over the budgeted amount. But again, looking at it from an overall picture, there's no issues with budget for 2020.
Good.
Moving on to the quarterly report with respect to the statistics, crime prevention, Crime Stoppers, we had 1 tip for the year. We had 8, which is consistent with what we had in 2019. Same thing with high-risk meetings with respect to the domestic violence, and also with respect to the community events. Simply because of COVID, our numbers are significantly down in that area because obviously we cannot engage in some of the community events were not happening, including school activities and officers engaged in school activities and liaising with the school officials and the students. Community patrols, foot patrol hours, good news story there as well. We had 36.5 foot-feet hours for the month of December, which put us at 436.75 for the year. which is, again, higher than what we had last year. And given the circumstances with COVID, again, that's really good dedication by our police officers on the front lines.
Hey, Chief, can you just hang on just a second? We lost Bobby, it sounds like. I have to send her the invite again. Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
All right, just give me just a second here.
Sherry, I'm still here.
Okay, who isn't on? Jack?
I'm here.
All right, Phil?
Here.
Toby?
Here.
Nick?
I'm here, yep.
Nick's there too?
Yep.
So who did we lose? Josh. I think we found a winner. Okay, I have to send this to Josh. Just give me just a second.
Sorry, Sherry, I am here. Through the chair, I am present.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, all right. Okay, sorry, continue on. I got a meeting, but or an email saying someone dropped off. All right, we're good. Sorry.
Okay, moving on to park and bike patrols. Total of 17 for the month of December. We did have a focus patrol for the parks due to some of the vandalism that has been reported to us. And officers have dedicated quite a few hours to park patrols. A total for the year is 51 in comparison to 7 last year, which again shows the dedication of the officers to that detail and making sure that parks are used for the right reasons and that we reduce the vandalism there as much as possible. Focus patrol, we had 1 in December for a total of 11, slightly higher than last year. Criminal charges, 5 adults for the month of December. A total of 9 criminal code charges were issued. A total of 79 adults and 6 youths were charged in 2020 versus 61 and 6 in 2019. Again, good work being done there by the officers with respect to criminal activities and laying the charges. Drug investigations, we had 3 solved and 3 charges, all related to the new marijuana legislation and marijuana readily available while operating a motor vehicle are the constant theme charges. And for the year, we had 22 actual investigations. All 22 have been solved and resulted in charges. Again, it shows that the officers use zero tolerance when it comes to operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of cannabis, and good work being done there. 911 calls, we had 8 hang-ups and 32 calls for service with respect to OPP public and ambulance assist. Total for the year is 322, which is consistent with what we've had last year. Of note in that area, with respect to hang-up calls, significant reduction. We went from 200 last year to 138 this year, so that's a good news story, as the officers don't have to respond to those unnecessary calls. Sexual assaults, we had 0 for December, 8 for the year, 75% have been cleared, versus 8 last year at 63.6% clearance rate. So it's good to see that clearance rate up as well. Violent crime rates, we had 2 incidents. One was solved, 47 for the year, which is a significant reduction from last year when we had 74. So again, that's a good news story in terms of that reduction. Major case management, sexual offender registry and byclass, 0 for the month of December. We had 9 for the MCM for the year, 10 SORs and 12 byclass booklets completed. And that's all within the regulation, and there's been nothing missed for 2020 with respect to completing those booklets. Property crime, we had 2 2 incidents only in the month of December, which is good. 189 for the year, which is consistent with what we had last year. And again, as far as our clearance rate, relatively consistent with last year as well. This year we cleared out 30 of them. Last year was 37, 16% versus 20%. School visits, again, significantly down simply because of COVID and the schools being shut down. Youth crime, no issues there. Trouble with youth, we had 50 for the year, 6 in the month of December. I can tell you that out of the 6 that we had, 4 have been at one particular school where they have significant problems with one child. And I guess, well, obviously the parents and the school officials are addressing that issue with the youth and the some of the mental health issues that are associated with that particular individual. Situation Hub meetings, we had 3 meetings in the month of December, 39 for the year, which is consistent with last year. Of significance there, though, is this year we had 5 situations that were presented at the table versus 1 last year. So again, the people that are in crisis in our community are being addressed, and we are referring them to their proper agencies to try to get them some help, which is good. Unsolved follow-up calls, we have 28 for the month of December, a total of 559 for the year. And that just basically is reflective of the officers doing follow-up on some of the investigations that they're doing to make sure that all the investigative avenues have been exhausted prior to closing off that report. Just on a Situation Hub meeting, or I'll talk about the mental health a little bit later. Provincial offenses, 58 traffic tickets, 5 liquor offenses, 12 other. For the year, we had 981 traffic tickets issued, 24 liquor, 215 other, which is consistent with last year's numbers. And again, 9 criminal code charges were laid by the officers. With respect to ride checks, 22 ride checks have been done in the month of December, 2,349 stops, and resulted in 13 Highway Traffic Act warnings. Total for the year, we're slightly higher in terms of the number of stops. And with respect to the actual ride checks, we're slightly down. For the month of December, we had 9 alcohol standard tests done, roadside tests done, and that resulted in 1 3-day suspension. Impaired driving, we had 2 for the month of December, 30 for the year, and when you look at our last year, we had 15, so we doubled our apprehensions for impaired driving in our community. And again, that was the focus for 2020, to reduce impaired driving on our roadways, and officers have certainly stepped up to the plate and are dedicating their time to that reduction and making sure that the people are not driving while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Prisoners processed, pretty much on par to what we've had last year. No issues in that regard. In-service training, there was no in-service training done in the month of December. Again, when you look at hours dedicated to training this year, significantly down simply because of COVID and some of the courses not being offered based on what we were planning on doing for 2020. Again, I talked about the budget already, nothing to be said there. And looking at crime trends, violent crime significantly down over last year. Again, good news story, and this is our second lowest year in comparison to the 4 that have been captured in our stats. Property crime trends on par to what we've had last year. Drugs again, slightly higher than previous years. But again, that's as a result of the cannabis legislation and officers dealing with that. Domestic disputes, really good there. We're only at 29 for the year versus, if you look at the previous years, we're significantly down, and that's a good news story. Motor vehicle collisions, same thing. Lowest year out of the 4. And that certainly speaks to the officer visibility, enforcement. 911, again, significantly down compared to last year. Foot patrol hours are up from last year. Mental health calls for service, we were slightly higher than last year. And just on that, I want to make the board aware of the fact that there will be a mental health case worker available to us on a part-time basis in cooperation with Elgin County OPP. So St. Thomas Police Service have 2 of their own under the provincial funding. We put a proposal together to do a shared venture between us and the Elgin County OPP to have a worker dedicated to those 2 areas. And that's been approved, and we're just waiting for that person to be hired. And they'll be working 2 days a week, or my proposal was that they dedicate 2 days a week to Aylmer and to our office, and 3 days to Elgin County OPP. And as I indicated, that funding came from Lynn, and it doesn't cost us anything, but certainly it will help us in terms of dealing with some of the mental health issues in our communities. And it'll enhance that service where the officers are not going to be tied down or tied up for a number of hours dealing with those kind of calls. That's my report regarding crime stats, if anybody has any questions.
Any questions, comments on that?
Okay, moving on to my monthly activities. Lots of meetings attended again last month. Situation table teleconferences, Elgin County Management Teleconference, Southwest Public Health Unit with respect to COVID issues, domestic violence, high-risk teleconference, and PSC meetings, obviously. No issues with the budget, no issues with the planning process regarding our initiatives. In consultation with Nick, we ended up purchasing 2 new firearms. No impact on our overall budget, simply because of the savings that we've had this year. And again, the purchase of these 2 firearms were required because we didn't have any spares. And it was a need just in case one goes out of service, that we have other ones that we can issue while the officers are working, for obvious reasons. With respect to crime trends and some of the pressures that we have experienced operationally, continued issues with Church of God emergency order breaches, which is resulting in regular planning for the ops plans that are required. Make sure that the peace is kept and that any investigative needs are taken care of immediately, and charges laid appropriately and in a timely manner. So that's been, we've been quite busy with that in the month of December, and continue to be so in the month of January. We have submitted grant application under provincial grant application process for sexual assault investigations, and I'm happy to report to you that we have been approved for that grant. And I just received correspondence from the province that for 2020-2021 fiscal year, we've been allocated $91,692. And for 2021-2022 year, we've been allocated $100,000. That's a really good news story for us, and obviously it's needed, and it'll allow us to have the ability to have a proper interview room, soft interview room for those victims of that particular crime, and also allow for some training and officer hours dedicated to that detail and that investigation as well. So that is a really good news story in terms of funding from the province on that particular initiative. Other direct operating expenses, obviously we were over, significantly over last year, but everything stayed within under our operational budget. And some of the significant costs there were as a result of the emergency purchases for computer backup technology that was failing and needed to be replaced. As far as my monthly sheet, I only had to do 4 backup shifts for the month of December, which is good, and we're sort of stabilizing that area a little bit. And that is my report, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Good stuff. Any questions or concerns on any of that? Anyone? All right. So moving on, I closed out of this by accident, so let me get back in here, and we move on to the budget, if I can find it. Okay. All right. Let me just expand this as much as I can so that everyone can see. So this is the 2021 proposed budget. Oh, come on. Okay, I think we're good. All right, did you want to speak to this?
Yeah, so the proposed 2021 budget, I went over it. It's actually a simplified form that the town uses, which really saves me a lot of time in completing the budget for the following year. It's an excellent document. There's nothing that really jumps out at me that is going to increase the budget for any significant amount. What's not reflected in there is the new announcement for the grant that we will be receiving for 2021, 2022, and 2020-2021 budget, which I just announced to you, $91,000 for 2020-2021 year, and $100,000, which is for the 2021-2022. So that will further reduce the budget as we move into 2021. The vehicle, as you can see, asset replacement has been budgeted for $25,000 for 2021, and this will give us an opportunity to not have to look at operational budget for the purchase of a new cruiser. And at the end of the day, what we're looking at is a very almost a 0.5% decrease again in the policing budget for 2021 year. And I have no issues with the numbers that have been presented, and the ability to stay within the 2021 projected budget of $2.429 million versus 2.439 for 2020 year. Unless anybody has any specific questions with respect to the 21 budget, that is my report on the proposal.
Any questions on the budget?
Madam Chair, to the Chief. Chief, are there any particular line entries that you feel will be the most challenging to work within?
To you, Madam Chair, no, I'm not. I feel very comfortable with the budget that has been put forward. Each item has been reviewed extensively to make sure that there's not going to be any surprises. So I'm comfortable with the proposed budget at minus 0.40% in comparison to last year.
Thanks, Chief.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none. Bobby, do you have a resolution for this? Reports A to H.
That the Aylmer Police Services Board receives report items A to H of the January 11th, 2021 agenda, and further that the proposed 2021 budget be forwarded to Town Council.
Okay, and we're okay to do them both under that blanket? Do we need a separate one for the budget to go to council?
Through you, Madam Chair.
Hello? Yeah, Bill?
I think we need to separate them out.
Yeah. So we can do reports A to G under a separate resolution. If that's okay, Bobby?
Sure. That the Aylmer Police Services Board receives report items A to G of the January 11th, 2021 agenda.
Okay, could I have a mover for that, please?
I'll move, Toby.
Okay, and seconder?
Bill?
I'll second.
All right, and all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, any opposed? Okay, that's carried. And now a separate resolution for the proposed budget, item H.
That the Aylmer Police Services Board approves the proposed 2021 budget report item H of the January 11th, 2021 agenda, and further that this document be forwarded to Town Council.
All right, and can I have a
Motion by
mover?
Bill.
A seconder?
Motion by Bill.
So Bill moves, seconder.
I'll second. It's Toby.
Toby, and all in favor?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Opposed? None, and that is carried. All right. Thank you. Okay, so we will move along to the correspondence incoming. Was there anything in particular that you wanted to speak to on this, Chief? There's quite a few documents in there, so I will let you extract as you feel necessary to speak to.
Yeah, through Madam Chair, I do want to touch up on a couple of items here. The first one is the fingerprinting directive. There has been no issues for us in terms of the fingerprints being done at the office based on the COVID rules and some of the restrictions there. Obviously, we're business as usual when it comes to fingerprinting those that have been charged with a crime. So there's been no issues there. Second item is record checks. Because of our online ability, and I have to give Nick credit for that, he actually assisted with the implementation of online record check procedure, and that's working out really well for us in terms of that particular company that's doing that for us. And as a result of that implementation, we have no issues with having people come in and do record checks, and whether it's for employment or volunteering, they're being done, and no issues there.
Okay.
The bike class, the other item that's on the list there with respect to mandatory reporting on bike class and major case management, that's been completed and sent to the ministry as per their requirements. So no issues there. And in addition to that, I also had Nick complete the annual requirement for the firearm seizures. That was due at the end of this month, and it's already been submitted in and processed on behalf of our service. So no issues there. The rest of the items on there all pertain to emergency orders and COVID highlights, and I don't think I need to go over any of those. I'm pretty sure everything's pretty much up to date on the laws there.
And the use of force report, I think we all received the information from Nick that was completed.
Yes, the use of force has been submitted, and the new online submissions have been distributed to the officers for the 2021 year.
Okay, that's great. Was there anything that you wanted to speak to, Officer Novicic or Acting Sergeant Inspector?
No, that covers it off. The use of force was submitted. That new online option is going to be really good for us, and the idea behind it that it'll be able to capture the just the staff, really, not really the officer or any identifying features, but it'll be a lot easier for submission. The officer will complete it. It'll come to me for review before it gets uploaded to the ministry site.
Okay, great. Was there any questions to either the chief or acting inspector? Okay, seeing none, thank you. So that being said, we can have a resolution for Articles 9A to L.
That the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts correspondence items A to L of the January 11th, 2020 agenda.
Okay, can I have someone to move this? Anyone?
Bill?
Is that Bill?
Yes.
Bill and seconder?
I'll second.
Yes.
Okay. Toby, and all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, opposed? And that's carried. Thank you very much. All right, so the next item is the closed session. Bobby, do you have a resolution for that?
Through you, Madam Chair, can I just bring one new item for discussion, if possible, before we go into close?
Yeah, sure. Is it something that needs to be addressed prior to our next meeting, I would assume?
Yes, I would prefer to do that.
Okay, yes, I'll allow that.
So just to kind of give you a little bit of background, we did have a special constable part-time program in place here. That particular special constable has retired from our service, which resulted in the vacancy. His position or his duties included court security and prisoner transport in cooperation with St. Thomas and Elgin County OPT. Since his departure, we had to use our full-time special constable to continue that partnership with St. Thomas PD and Elgin County OPT. And he has been filling in on Tuesdays and Thursdays for that purpose. I am not proposing a replacement of a special constable position, but in order to fill that void when our current full-time special constable is in court on Tuesdays and Thursdays for the specific duties of court security and prisoner transport, I would like the board to approve a part-time civilian position to fill that void and have the ability to complete some of the duties that would otherwise be completed by the full-time member. What this will do is we do have a cost recovery for participating in that court security and prisoner transport funding through the province. And if we were to go the civilian route, that would save us money in the long run because obviously a civilian makes less money than a special constable. And yet we'll still be able to achieve the required administrative duties that the special constable completes now on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It would just give us a better operational and administrative opportunity to have that second part-time civilian versus hiring a part-time special constable into that position. And it would result in overall savings in our budget.
Okay. Any questions or comments to the chief regarding his request?
I have one, Chief. Is there any, are there any challenges with the collective agreement?
No, there are not. Simply because of the fact that we do have a special constable who is whose duties do include court security, because he's already working in courts anyway, and therefore he would be basically dedicating those 2 days on Tuesdays and Thursdays as per our partnership that we currently have in place. And then a civilian position would just complete the administrative paperwork that really anybody can complete. They don't have to be a special constable to process some of the documents.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And is everyone in favor of this request? I think it makes sense as you explained it. We would need a resolution, I believe. Is Bill? Oh yeah, is Bill? Oh, he's. I just don't see your face. That's all.
Oh, okay. I'm just sitting back in the chair.
Oh, okay. No, that's okay. So we need to have a resolution to support this, that the board supports hiring a part-time civilian. Is that what it was, Chief?
Yes, it is. It's actually a civilian clerk position.
Okay. So part-time civilian clerk position. But yep, I can hear you. Are you trying to talk? Or are you signing me? I don't know sign language, Bill.
I so move that the Police Services Board give authorization to the chief to hire a part-time civilian clerk position.
Okay.
And I would second that.
All right. Is there any other verbiage we need in there? Is that sufficient? I think that's okay. Good. Any other questions? Okay. Bobby, did you get that?
Yes, if I could just read that back to you. That the Aylmer Police Services Board approves the hiring of a part-time civilian / clerk for the purpose of part-time court security. Would that be correct? No, just
Administrative duties. Am I correct in that, Chief? Through you, Madam Chair?
Yeah, that's correct. It's not a court security person. It's a specific to administrative duties.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor?
Yes.
All right. And that is carried. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. So we will continue on. Bobby, do you have a resolution to go into closed, please?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board adjourns to closed session at 6:46 p.m. for the personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees.
Okay. And can I have a mover? Toby, seconder. Bill, and all in favor. Good.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we'll just give Josh a minute to shut off the live feed, and then